So if you're concerned that you have resistance issues in the surrounding area, in your neighbor's field, or in your own field, you really need to be planning ahead before the season even begins on what your strategy is going to be, particularly if you are planting soybeans, because there are fewer options for post-emergence control than there are for other crops such as corn. Some of the strategies that you could use for controlling glyphosate-resistant weeds in soybeans would be possibly to use a different herbicide technology, such as Liberty Link beans, which would allow you to use something like glufosinate, for which we do not have resistance in weeds at this time in Michigan. The other thing that you should be implementing is the use of pre-emergence herbicides with residual activity, and specifically looking at the modes of action you're using are not ones that the weeds are resistant to. So, for example, mare's tail, which is glyphosate resistant, is also often resistant to the ALS herbicides or the group 2 herbicides, and so you want to be looking at other modes of action such as group 5 herbicides or group 14 herbicides, which would still have activity on the mare's tail or the palmer or the water hemp that you suspect you're going to have a problem with. So even though there are many different reasons why weeds may escape control, you still do need to be out scouting and looking to see if resistance could be appearing on your farm. So after a herbicide application is made, it would be good to go out about a week or 2 weeks after that application to just see how the weeds are doing. So if you see that the weeds are dying, but there are some other species that don't appear to be dying after 2 weeks, then you may want to consider that you do have resistance on your farm and send in a sample. So here we have a mare's tail or horseweed growing that has been exposed to one application of glyphosate, and you can see that it has been damaged a little bit. So even when weeds are resistant, they can be injured by the product, but it may not completely kill them. So this mare's tail or horseweed is going to go on to reproduce and have seed that travels onto this farm and to other neighboring farms, since this is a wind-dispersed species. So the same would be true for the other species that we have glyphosate resistance to right now, palmer amaranth, common water hemp, and common and giant ragweed. So you really want to be looking at those species, and there's a potential for new species to develop resistance also. So if you see other weeds that are dead and weeds that appear to be surviving, it's time to consider collecting a sample and sending that in for screening. Tips for collecting weed seeds. That's available on the Diagnostic Services website, pestid.msu.edu. And this has color illustrations on what the weed seeds look like, what color they should be, and where they're located on the plant. It also mentions that I need 5 or more plants that have seeds on them, so I have a high enough quantity. And once you have collected your seeds, it's important to bag them in paper and not plastic so that they don't get moldy. And we will test them against 5 modes of action for herbicides to see if there are any resistance issues. So even though you may only be concerned about glyphosate resistance, we're going to look at resistance to ALS herbicides, PPOs, other modes of action to try and be proactive and look for any resistance issues that may be developing so that we can come up with strategies on how to manage those on your farm. There are 5 species which are currently being sponsored by the Michigan Soybean Promotion Committee for resistance screening in the greenhouse at Diagnostic Services, and those include any of the pigweed species, for example, palmer amaranth or common water hemp, mare's tail or horseweed, common ragweed, giant ragweed, and common lamb's quarters.